Hi everyone, so I want to say thank you for joining us for our first Women in Automotive webinar, talking about the new event that's taking place this year at Following AR Canada. So without further ado, I'd like to get started introducing the ladies we have joining the conversation today. So let's start with Moore. Will you give us a little bit of your background and your involvement in the conference?
Sure. So my name is Maura Framian, and I am part of Cherokee Media Group. I oversee our event marketing, social media, and just kind of help out with all of the logistics for the conference.
Great. And who are you sitting next to?
Hi, I'm Sarah Rubinoff. I'm the editor of Auto Remarketing Canada, also working for Cherokee Media Group. So I'm in charge of everything editorial related, stories, newsletters, and also have played a role in crafting the agendas for our spring events as well.
Great. So you guys really were part of the initiation in getting this event up and running, but we have some of the board members joining us today. Sharon, will you start by introducing yourself and tell us your role with this?
Sure. Thank you very much, Samantha. Cheryl Muntz here. I have been in the automotive industry for close to 35 years. I actually attended an event similar to this in the US last year and thought that it would be ideal to bring an event back to Canada. At that point, I approached the Cherokee Media Group and to see if they were interested in doing it, since they are very well experienced in this market for the Auto Remarketing Canada conferences. And with that, I helped them spearhead and craft the agenda and brought the board together.
Great. And we also have Christy on the call with us. And Christy, will you introduce yourself for us?
Sure. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today live on this Google Hangout. I have been 15 years in the automotive finance space here in Canada, and I have worked with Cheryl on and off throughout my career, and she contacted me about my interest in this event, and I have actually forever been thinking about creating a women's automotive event, and it showed up on my doorstep with her offer, her generous offer, without having to create it myself. So I'm pleased to be working with her and the rest of the board members, and really looking forward to the event day.
Great. So I think that this is really exciting because we have a diverse group of individuals on the call. And my name is Samantha. I am our Vice President of Account Services at Potratz, a automotive advertising agency based in New York. And I think there's nothing better than women empowering women. And I think that's a theme that will be carried through the Women in Automotive event taking place in Toronto. So for everybody who's joining the call and interested in what this event is and when it's taking place, let's give them some details. So Cheryl, can you let us know where the event is and when we can and how we can sign up for it?
Absolutely, Samantha. So this event is taking place right on the back end of Auto Remarketing Canada event there in Toronto at the Western Harbour Castle. The date of the Women and Automotive event is Wednesday, April the 6th. You can find information about the event at womenandautomotive.com. You can also follow us and myself and Christy Groom and all of the other board members on LinkedIn and Facebook. There are many posts about that. You can also follow it on Twitter at #WeAuto2016. I'm very excited to be a part of this, and I have seen there are some men already registered, but we need to get the word out really, really fast and spread it to your connections.
So I think that's one thing we can all do is take that information. So We Auto, tweet us at any questions that you have for the individuals on the call today. We're also on Facebook Live, or you can chat right underneath this Google Hangout. Let us know what your questions are and we'll add them into the conversation today. But with that, you're talking about how the event is not just for women, but it was really created to be something new in the automotive industry. You may have attended something similar in the past. And Christy, with this being an initiative you've been thinking about and now have the opportunity to be a part of, how did the board come together, and what is your initiative going forward?
Well, I think all credit can be given to Cheryl for reaching out to the network that we've all been a part of for a number of years and how the board came together. All of the women that are participating on the board have a vast array of differences with their backgrounds specific to automotive. And some of us have known each other from the past, and some of us are meeting for the first time. So I think the collaboration of the choice of women that Cheryl has selected is a great fit for this initiative. And also, what we'll take away from this initiative, we'll be able to apply going forward in future conferences and future opportunities that we believe are important for women to be aware of. I think, having thought about creating a Women in Automotive event in the past, my hope was really to create what you've just stated is the theme of this event, and that is to empower women into an industry where it has typically been male-dominated. And I think that the industry really needs more of us, women in leadership roles, to pull that opportunity for women for the years to come. So that would be my commitment going forward, would be to continue to create and empower women to choose this industry as an opportunity for themselves and their future.
So Sarah, how does that integrate into the agenda for the event? So both the education and getting more women involved in the automotive industry, what can we look forward in the agenda?
All of the things. No, we're definitely focusing on things that women can certainly apply in their workplace when they leave this day-long event. And first off, our conference is going to launch with a keynote presentation from Maria Soklas, which is the president of Cox Automotive Canada. And her experience is going to apply to many in the industry, because she was, before her current position, she was Chief Operating Officer at Kia Canada. So, who couldn't learn from her story, right? And later in the day, I'll be moderating a panel with some of our board members, actually Cheryl Muntz and Wendy Ladd, who's with FAF. And it'll feature women kind of who have created their own brands. So we're going to be focusing on building your own brand for success, and offering attendees some actionable items to take home and solidify their own personal brand. We even have a panel on recruiting and retaining top talent. So, we all know that motivated employees with high potential are really what, the backbone of any successful business and what drives them forward. And those same workers, they represent the future of any company. And so we're going to, on this panel, kind of cover how do you recruit that top talent that'll be able to move up within the company and one day into senior roles, and as well as how you can cultivate a diverse workforce and include women in your industries and your business. So and attendees will also be privy to an executive analysis panel later in the day, a presentation from AIA Canada, and much more. So we're really focused on providing content that conference attendees can take away and really utilize after the event as they move their auto careers forward.
And I think that's one thing we're seeing, and Cheryl and Christy, I'd love to get your feedback on this specifically since your feet are on the ground. One of the things we've been seeing is retention of women in the automotive industry steadily increased, but still not where we want it to be. So in your opinion, are we definitely still in a good old boys club, or how is the industry progressing, and how are we going to support that?
I'll speak. It's Cheryl here. I really believe the industry has progressed significantly. I would say more so in the last decade than in the previous 25 years that I have been in the industry. There are still companies, there are still businesses, there are still people that we all run across every day who really believe in their heart of hearts that gals can't speak cars. I will tell you that the car and automotive is just the business. It's just the vehicle to do business. Pardon the pun. Men that break into the industry have to be trained. We need to remove the gender. We need to train people, regardless of whether they are male or female, and embrace the people and the passion and disregard the gender. And if we can get the word out, and that's what this event is all about, it's the first of its kind. Look for this every year going forward. We need to get the current decision makers out there to start the conversation, to continue the conversation, because sadly, the industry is still dominated by men in senior leadership and management positions. And that's a fact. It's not I am woman, it's not a gender thing, it's a fact that men still currently hold most of the decision-making roles, so we need to get them out there so that collectively we can all make a difference for the industry.
Great, Cheryl. I'll just add on to that. I think, I started, as I said in my introduction, I started my career 15 years ago. And I think you're right, in the last 10 years we've seen significant headway or movement forward towards a less male-dominated industry. And coming into the industry on the finance side, I actually didn't realize that there was this gender differentiation or isolation, for that matter, until I started to progress in my career. And I think that what's interesting about this industry and certainly other industries is that we need to move towards more of a balanced approach to lifestyle and career. And I think that where we've really not moved in this industry is in that regard. And I think that the idea of, a commissioned base, work as hard as you can, as long as you can, to beat everybody else in the showroom, to get as many deals and the most profit, it is actually what we still consider the winner, has to be looked at and ultimately changed with more balance, a more balanced approach to achieving goals and success in the industry. And I think what deters women from roles, specifically in retail, is that lack of flexibility and that constant dog-eat-dog approach to being successful. If you're there longer, you put in the most hours, you have the opportunity to sell the most cars, that's what equals success in the retail side of the business. And I think we need to really look at a more balanced approach to the industry, and that when that's approached, from the place of what could we do to create a workplace that invites, a more flexible schedule, a more flexible lifestyle, that will speak to women, for all sorts of reasons. So that would be, what I would like to see happen with the industry.
And I think for that reason, it really speaks to why this event is not just something that women should attend. Both males and women's breaking that gender barrier is something that this conference is also aimed at. It's creating an environment for women to network and learn, but also to get everybody involved in that. And, Sarah and Maura, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on, both the networking aspect that's available, as well as some of the things that people will be able to take away from the event and implement in the workspace.
I'll just speak to the networking opportunities at the event a little bit. You're right. I mean, networking is key to increasing diversity in auto because we're starting the conversation, and then also to just, moving individuals' careers forward. So that's why we made sure to include plenty of networking opportunities for the upcoming event. Throughout the day, we're going to have 3 networking breaks, refreshment breaks that will give you the time you need to find mentors, give advice, get advice, share business cards, start a conversation. That's what it's all about. And we'll also be hosting a luncheon midday that'll give you plenty of time to meet other like-minded attendees as well. And we're also ending the event with a networking reception closing reception that will feature a few special surprises that Moore is going to touch on later in the Hangout, so you'll have to stick around for that. But let's just say you won't want to miss it.
I love the tease. And so with that, what are some of the things in regards to names, team members, individuals, speakers at the event that we can look for? I know you already told us who your opening keynote is, but who else can we see on the agenda?
Well, you can definitely see the Automotive Industry Associations of Canada, AIA, is coming on board to do a session on empowering women in the automotive industry and moving that forward. Also, TADA is going to come on to do a workshop. That's the Trillium Automobile Dealers Association, and they're going to do a workshop focused on one of their mentorship programs, where they're taking women such as high-level technicians or industries that you don't normally see a lot of female faces in, and they are connecting those mentors with with girls in high school or women in college to really get at them and tell them about the career paths available in automotive when they're just starting their careers out. So that's definitely something to look for as well.
And if all of this sounds great to me, how do I sign up?
So you can go to womenandautomotive.com, and we have a registration button right there on the home page and at the very top. And between now and March 4th, we have our early bird discount. So right now, you can save $100 before the early bird ends. And we also have an additional discount code that we will share with everyone who's part of this live Q&A, and that is WA save and then money sign 100. So WA save $100, and we'll send that, I think, via email as well afterwards. But you'll be able to pretty much register between now and the Friday before the day of the event, and then we also do registrations on site. But we recommend that you register ahead of time, because that kind of gives you the benefit of adding your name to our attendee list, and then also being able to further connect with some conversations with other people who will be joining. So like I said, we have our early bird registration rate, and that ends next Friday, March 4th.
So we're starting the conversation today, also utilizing the hashtag WeAuto2016, but what other resources are available to engage with other individuals attending the conference or to find new updates that are coming out?
We do have our Facebook event page, and that's part of the Auto Remarketing Canada event page, and then we've also sort of been utilizing the hashtag. We really are trying to further build this community, so whichever means people are comfortable speaking with us, whether it's through LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, or if there's another way that they would like to build a community, we're really open to that. We typically like to receive questions, and like this was an idea that Potratz pitched to us. We love having this live Q&A and having these partnerships and working with our board of advisors. So we're online, and we'll be in person as well. But right now, like I said, we have our Facebook event page, and then we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, so use the hashtag and we'll find you.
And so what other initiatives, and Cheryl, maybe you can talk a little bit about what other initiatives are there currently, resources available that are really proactive and engaging in this conversation of women in automotive?
Well, I think for women who are contemplating a career in automotive, and let's not forget, this conference is not just for women and men of automotive, but we really hope to attract people that are thinking about a career in automotive. So what is available, which is very highly regarded in the automotive industry, is the Georgian College Automotive Business School for Canada. And I can tell you that that course covers everything automotive related. And when I was in senior leadership positions at various automotive companies, the people that graduated from that college, their resumes made it to the very top of my pile. So I would say that if you're not already in automotive or you're just breaking in, take a look at educating yourself, become a student of the industry. If it's your passion, then sign up for emails, press releases, follow Auto Remarketing, get on their free emails and their newsletters. It's really, really important to stay in touch with the industry and connect yourself with people that are in the industry that you either respect or know and that really you trust and who cares about your career and your advancement within the industry. That would be my counsel.
Christy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, as she was saying, as she was speaking, I thought, wow, you got it all. That's exactly what I've done in my career, and I second that advice. I think that, when you're looking to create a name for yourself or a brand for yourself, so to speak, the more connections that you can make throughout your day-to-day work through accessing the industry information, attending conferences, asking questions, getting really interested in the industry and the people in the industry makes for a really nice career that you can create for yourself. So.
And I think that's something that's a really great comment, is that if you're interested in getting into the industry, this is a great conference, a great event to decide if that's the direction you want to go in, as well as it's a resource to find out the additional resources outside of the conference that you can utilize to make that decision and empower your growth within the industry. But one thing I noticed, Sarah, when you were talking about the agenda is we have things like building a brand and things like networking. And yes, it pertains specifically to that of automotive, but if I'm somebody who's just, deciding if that's my next career step, if that's going to be where I can see myself excel, if you decide that's not the case, creating a core value statement, the networking opportunities, those are all things that are going to provide value to me if I decide to move into a different sector.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak to that. I think one of the big themes behind building the agenda is making this really almost universal in how can women empower themselves in the workplace. While we are focusing on the automotive industry, our goal is to empower both women and men to help develop women so that they will go after leadership roles and they will be a bigger percentage of decision makers. And it's not unique just to the automotive industry. The tech industry went through this as well. So we really want to offer content that can be used no matter what direction our participants decide to go.
It's changing the status quo and supporting that, and really changing, the industry. And I think that's a great initiative that you guys have launched, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. With that, maybe we can talk a little bit about, some of the top challenges. Christy, you mentioned a little bit being, the work as hard as you can, as much as you can, as hard as you can, 24/7 to beat the guy standing next to you. What are some of those things that you see, as automotive industry progresses, being those items that change?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of change in that yet, so I don't know. I guess what I can say is what I am noticing is that the decision makers, dealer principals, general managers are actually open to that conversation today. Corporations that are supporting automotive, specifically in my experience with finance, they are definitely encouraging female senior leadership. I've been fortunate enough in the last few years of my career to hold senior management level positions at a really young age. And I think that has to do with choosing a niche in the market as well. And that was one thing I thought of after we finished that last bit of that conversation about advice on what to do when creating your career. But I think that if you can become an expert in a certain area and take all of the advice that Cheryl stated and really focus in on an area that you are passionate about, you can start to create that brand and that name and that awareness for yourself. But to answer your question a little bit more directly about what am I seeing, I do see that they're open to the conversation of what would it look like to have a more balanced lifestyle. And what would it look like to start to bring in, not just a commission-based structure on the retail side, rather a salary base that creates a little bit more security for people that are looking to get into a career versus just, that fighting to get to the top and taking a chance to win. So I am seeing some changes in pay plans on the retail sector that are a lot more they appear to be more secure for women to choose, and scheduling is definitely starting to become more flexible. From what I see, I'm starting to hear that F&I managers particularly are getting to share Saturday shifts so that they're not working every weekend, and that work-life balance lifestyle is slowly starting to creep in. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that is a really good point. Find your niche and really work on that. And that's kind of like building your brand as well. And I think those are all common themes we'll find throughout the conference. Cheryl, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with Christy. And I think there's been so much talk and so many women breaking through the windshield ceiling. Not the glass ceiling, we call it the windshield ceiling in our industry, that, the conversations are easier to have now. The senior leaders of dealerships and other companies are embracing it. They're looking at diversity. They have a commitment to changing the face of their business. However, having said that, the most effective way to effect change, I've always been a firm believer that if it's meant to be, it starts with me. And I really think that women, in general, are a little bit to blame for not taking it on themselves and being assertive. I say assertive, not aggressive. Figuring out what they want to do, planning their roadmap for their future, and being self-confident and respecting what they can contribute to the industry and their career and their profession. So I think women really need to take it on, strap it on their backs, and run with it. And if the plan makes sense and you've got to take a left turn down that road, eventually you will come back to your path. You will find your path. It's not going to happen overnight. As I said, you have to be diplomatic about it. You have to kind of find some people that want to mentor you, either formally or informally along the way, and just do kind of a gut check. And those are the best people to do gut checks with. So I really think that it starts with self-confidence, taking stock in what you're able to contribute, and becoming assertive and executing your plan. And combined with the programs that the companies have in place right now, and your drive and your passion and your persuasiveness to get there, I think it's going to work.
I love that, though. I think that's one of the biggest things is taking that initiative and believing in yourself to really move forward and not let perception that it is a male-dominated industry, or perception that you don't have the skills to do it. Build those skills and build that network. That's one of the things I think that this event will contribute to, is building that network of resources that we can work together, as well as find mentors for new people coming into the industry and allow that generation of growth. So with that, before we go to Maura's exciting announcement, does anybody have any closing notes for our viewers? We're all just so excited.
Really kind of
Samantha?
Yes.
Can you hear me? It's Cheryl. I would just like to close by saying something simple. My personal brand, it's actually my tagline, is from dogs to Dodges. And for those who know me, they will know that I started my career, my working career, as a dog groomer, a professional dog groomer. And I evolved and found my path and my passion in automotive and pursued my career over a period of almost 35 years now. But I will tell you, there is no looking back. So, from my humble beginnings as a dog groomer with scissors in hand and no post-secondary education, if you follow your passion and you become a student of your industry, regardless of the industry, and you are diplomatic and be kind to people, because at the end of the day, it's a people business. And it's a great people business. There's great people in this industry. I think anybody can achieve whatever success and path that they're looking for.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add something real quick. Just kind of talking about that, if you're not quite sure automotive is your path. It's interesting. I was in journalism undergrad, and I actually have a master's in library science. And here I am. So it's one of those things that I think a lot of people come to, and I've heard this from a lot of my contacts in the industry as well. They've come to automotive through maybe not a straight line, not that straight path, as Cheryl was talking about. And I would just encourage people to be open to the automotive industry, because there are more opportunities and more avenues than you would really think. It's not, if you want to be a dealer, that's great, but it's not just dealers. There's a lot more involved and a lot more avenues, and it has a lot to offer. So I just would invite people to just consider some of those opportunities that might not be visible just right off the bat, and maybe Women Automotive will give you some of those options.
Yeah, and I just want to finish as well on that lead, Sarah, that when I went to university, I graduated with an honors degree in sociology, and it's a bit fitting for who I've evolved into as a woman, which is somebody who gets her cup filled by making a difference for other people. And the automotive industry has certainly allowed me to expand my personal growth and development and learning and contribution to dealers and to employees that I've had and to colleagues that I've worked with. And the industry is so vast that it allows you to meet so many different kinds of people that are dealing with so many different kinds of things, both in business and in personal. And to be somebody who likes to go to sleep with a smile on her face at the end of the night, knowing I've made a difference for at least one person, this industry definitely provides that vehicle. So even if you're not a car guru, because I'm certainly not. I like to drive a nice car, but I don't know half of the options on the vehicle that I drive. I just know that it looks good. If you're not into the technicalities of automotive or the finance aspect or the service aspect, like the idea of the industry doesn't necessarily speak to you, consider that the kind of people that are involved in the industry could very well speak to you developing an amazing career.
And that parallels what Cheryl said earlier about the car is just the vehicle, it's just the product. There's so much more that goes into the daily operations other than the sales and service end of it, being, working, connecting with individuals in the community through different positions like marketing and HR. So there is a great diversity in roles that make the wheels turn at the dealership on a daily basis. So I think that's important to remember as well. So to sign up for the event, as Maura mentioned earlier, visit womenandautomotive.com. Maura, what is that coupon code before we go to your exciting announcement that individuals can use when they sign up?
Absolutely. So it is WA Save $100. So you're going to put the money sign and then 100. I made a sign. It might be backwards, but here it is. So.
Oh, you guys are frozen.
That's not that one. I'm sorry. I have so many signs, but here we go. So WA Save $100, and that'll give you $100 off the early bird discount rate. So right now you can save $200 if you register before March 4th.
So a week left and you can save $200.
Yes. And yeah, so we do have some exciting announcements, or one big exciting announcement, and it kind of follows up on what Sarah and Christy said, and Cheryl as well. And I want to thank Cheryl and the Board of Advisors for giving us a lot of guidance and being a very big part of making this event come together. And I also sort of started my career in fashion, so fashion design and working with fashion designers. And it was really exciting when the board had the idea of having a fashion show at the conference. So we will host a fashion show with 2 Toronto-based retailers. We'll have Gail Friedlander of Images That Suit and Stephanie Augustine of Sexy Plus Clothing. Each of them will be showcasing between 18 to 20 different looks that will be appropriate for business, business casual, or work events. And it's going to be a really great way to bring the event to a closure. The fashion show will focus on how do we exude confidence. Confidence comes from within, but dressing the part always helps, especially when you are in a people business. So we're really excited about it. We'll have some graphics and more information about that coming out tomorrow, later today, tomorrow, next week. And we're hoping that everyone will kind of find something on the runway that works for them, and they can start, building their look or changing things up, and again, empowering themselves to exude the confidence that comes from within.
And one thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to questions before we end today. We do have somebody that came through on chat. And so whomever feels like they'd like to answer this, I do have some things we could add to it. But what percentage of car purchase do you believe are bought by women? And I think the real question is here as well, as they ask, do you feel there's an opportunity to build and tailor information to women in automotive?
Could I grab that? Christy might have different stats, but I believe, roughly speaking, 54% of every car purchased is purchased by a woman, which kind of mirrors the percentage of drivers now on the road. But a bigger number is 85%. 85% of all vehicles purchased are influenced by women. So they are actually the buyer and or have a voice in the purchase.
Yeah, I would agree with those statistics for sure.
And so the second part of their question was if we feel there's an opportunity to build and tailor information to women in automotive. And I think that speaks to, and I'll kind of maybe preface a little bit, and then you guys can add some stuff to this, but I really think that that talks to one of the things that we need to build in automotive, especially on the dealer end. And this is something that I think you'll see more and more of as we're talking about more of a digital process online. Finding the resourceful information off of your dealer's website is going to build authority. It's going to allow you to have a conversation with anybody before they come in the dealership. So yes, we can tailor content to women. We can tailor ads to women, definitely. But having the content on your website to be a resource at the beginning of the conversation is what's going to be really important, more so as we go forward and want to talk to customers before they just submit a lead form. And so I heard somebody trying to interject there.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead, Samantha.
But so I was just saying, I think that's a really big initiative that all marketers are going to have in all sectors. And I think that that's something that when you're looking at how you're being targeted on Facebook, on social media, you're going to see that those ads reflect your interests and your demographic and your gender, but the content is going to be the same. And I think having that conversation to a tailored level is going to influence the purchase process. And to Cheryl's point, 85% of women influence that purchase decision. So providing that information on your dealership's website is going to build brand loyalty. It's going to build you as a trusted authority for that purchase decision.
And I just wanted to add that there's two conversations that we're looking at here. For women in automotive, primarily, we're focusing mostly on the back end, the business, the people behind these dealerships and behind these businesses. But then we have another story here, which is the woman retailer. and how we treat those women. And I just like to speak, with Cheryl mentioning that 85% number, that dealers really need to understand that it's no longer the man of the family buying the car. It's just simply not the way it is, and that sounds so backwards, but there's still a large portion, I think, of salespeople and dealerships that may consider that. And I just think it would be very beneficial for to start that other conversation as well. How does the dealer treat women? How do we change that conversation on the sales floor, and how can we relate to them and serve their needs as well?
And I would like to add to what Sarah just said and pick up on Christy, how she's really promoting the women on the sales floor. And I think to address the question that was asked on the chat, the more women dealers can get on the sales floor. I mean, content is important. That's what drives the ultimate customer to that dealership in the first place. No doubt about it. Maybe videos that have women speaking to women would be awesome. But I really think that once where the rubber hits the road and the customer actually connects through to the dealership, there really needs to be warm, friendly, empathetic, caring, and trusting people, whether they be men or women, on the other end of the phone, and the friendly face of the dealership with diversity greeting those customers as they're walking through the door.
We also had another question on chat, and I think they missed probably our earlier conversation about how they can engage with us prior to the conversation. So we did talk about where they can register for the event, which is womenandautomotive.com, but we also have some other resources. More, can you remind our audience what those are?
Yes, we also have a Facebook event page, and that is Women and Automotive. So if you go there, just type it in, it'll bring you right to it. We are also using the hashtag WeAuto2016, and we're tracking that on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and really anywhere else that you like to put, any other social media platform that works for you. And our website is a really great resource because it gives you an overview of the day. You can also send us a direct email if you want to connect with us. We're also talking to people through @ Auto Remarketing Canada. So if you want to follow us at Auto Remarketing CAN, we are going to be there and happy to answer any questions that you have. And in a couple of weeks, we'll also release our attendee list so that people can kind of start seeing who will be attending the conference the day of.
Great. So I'd like to thank you all for your time today and joining the conversation about the first Women in Automotive conference held in Canada, Weston Harbor Castle at Toronto, April 6th. And with that, Cheryl or Chrissy, any closing for our audience?
Yeah, I'll just close. I just want to say thank you guys for the incredible professionalism that you've brought to creating this first conference. When we started the conversation, I didn't have a clue how it was going to evolve itself, and you at Cherokee Media have done an incredible job at pulling this together. I think the content that we have on the agenda is really, really empowering. I think it's going to make a difference for all the women and men that will attend. And I'm really proud to be a part of an initial conversation that's moving the industry in a direction that I'm really inspired by. So thank you, Cheryl, for inviting me, and I look forward to moving forward and being there on the day.
Thank you, Samantha. I would just like to finish by echoing what Christy had to say. I could not add anything more. She said it very eloquently. Cherokee Media, very professional partners. I thank you immensely for embracing this opportunity. At this stage in my career, for me, it's about paying it forward and giving. I've been treated very, very well in my career, And I was really happy to find Cherokee Media willing to embrace this opportunity at the right time and the right place. So I just want everybody to remember that it's women and automotive and not women in automotive, because the and is important. It's not just about the women in the industry or soon to be in the industry. It's about women around the industry and how they influence the industry, consistent with the question that was raised through the chat function. I also like to say that the more people in the industry who can put the woe ahead of the men, if you spell it W-O-M-E-N, that's my marketing mind running off with itself. The more people who can consciously put the woe ahead of the men, the quicker we will kind of mirror what our customers look like on the retail side, and the more quickly the industry and its reputation will be saved.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate all of our viewers joining today's conversation. And don't forget, you can connect with us all on social media before the conference, and we look forward to seeing you in person in Toronto this April.